Hey everybody, it's Delta Shiny Zeta here. Are y'all ready to see some more technical Yu-Gi-Oh! Rulings and everything else? I'm sure you are, which is why you're here. Yeah, so I don't really need to be introducing this that much and going through an overview because by this point you should know what this video is going for. You should know its purpose and intent, and overall, the whole series is just all about, illegal actions. So, as a quick introduction though, these are episodes 26 through 50 for the Every Illegal Action in CIMO'S Progression series. I've already done episodes 1 through 25 of the Progression series, as well as 1 through 25 of the History of Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Episode 50 was released earlier this week, so I was like, you know what, it's time. Alright, let's begin this. So there's actually plenty of illegal actions. I'm counting a total of approximately 26 illegal actions in the span of these 25 videos, so it's about an average of one per video, although not every video has one, but some have multiple ones, so it's important to know that. Anyway, let's get started. So the very first illegal action is in episode 26 of this series, which is the first video of this second set of 25. So, around the 30 mark or so, you can always see around here, which I'm going to put in the corner, you can always see. And so in this particular circumstance, we will see that Nim proceeds to normal summon Exile Force. He then activates the effect to tribute itself to pop this monster, which is Legendary Jujutsu Master. He then flips Spirit Reaper, attacks, discards a card, of course, and then he sets. So he actually ended up normal summoning / setting twice in one turn, which is obviously completely illegal. So yes, that's what it was. Now, did it matter? This one's a little hard to say, but it definitely gave him an advantage. The duel was won by Nim. I should say the whole match was won by Nim. Because of that setting, he basically got an extra monster, but if we move forward, you can see he then flips it, which means he's one turn ahead of that. He should have set it this turn and then could flip it next turn. Because of this advantage here, I mean, I don't know, it's a little tricky to know. I'm gonna say it probably did matter here, but it's impossible to say. Probably matter, but I don't know 100% sure. But that's the first one. The next one is in episode 27. This one is a very irrelevant illegal action, but I do have to show it just because, I'm going to get comments saying, hey, you missed this, even though I almost didn't want to show it because of just how useless it was to show it. Basically, you can tell who's winning by this point, like really badly, right? And then we go on to the next turn, we go to the end phase, and we actually see a mechanic here with Light Sworns that they actually, for the most part, did a pretty good job with remembering end phase mills. But in this particular case, that actually was not the case. The other thing too was the Snatch Steal, the 1,000 life points. Nim didn't actually gain those 1,000 life points, which he should have. Again, did not matter. He should have been at 23, he should have milled 5 more cards, and it did not matter at all. Moving on. Alright, episode 28, which is the Duelist Genesis. There's actually 2 illegal actions. The first one is at 34:55, around that mark or so, a little bit earlier actually, 34:41. I'm going to play this clip just so you hear it out really quick.
1850.
That's fine.
I will go to main 2. I will just go to end phase. We'll mill 2 for Jane and see if we hit a Light Sworn. Oh, you got
unlucky.
To see my
you got a Krabons too? Alright.
Alright, I'll stop it right there. Just to forward a little bit more, they did not mill anymore. So what is the illegal action? You probably guessed already. They did not trigger Geralt's mandatory effect. Basically, Jane milled here, and they didn't activate the effect, obviously. Now, if we look at the 2 cards, it was Krabons and Imperial Order. I'm under the impression that they thought that for every Light Sworn milled by the effect of another Light Sworn, you get to draw 1 card from Geralt's effect. That is not how Geralt works. Geralt instead mills cards himself every time a Light Sworn mills. So after those 2 mills, Geralt should have milled 2 more, and then if it's a Light Sworn from those 2 that Geralt milled, then you can draw a card for each one. Did it matter? If we then go to the next one, forward, he draws Jane. What's funny is that if they resolved the effect correctly, he would have drawn 1 card because he would have milled Jane. But the second card they would have milled, if we actually move forward, is this one. So he would have milled these 2, and then he would have drawn 1 card. What card would he have drawn instead? Instead of Jane, which should be in the graveyard? We don't know. Why? Because the duel's over. So that's the thing. I can say that, it probably mattered. It definitely affected the duel. Jane was dead in CIMO'S hand, so it probably mattered. We don't know what card would have been drawn. We do know that the 2 cards would have been milled. However, backtracking a little bit more in the same duel, around the 36:10 mark or so, Nim summons Witch of the Black Forest. Then he proceeds to Synchro Summon for a 6. It's a 4 and a 2. He makes the iconic Gold Guardian, and I guess he's just so into this Gold Guardian and Dark Arm Dragon that he totally forgot to activate Witch's mandatory effect. So that's technically illegal. And of course it gets to crazy board state and wins. This one I can say it didn't matter. Although, depending on what CIMO would have done if we resolve his illegal action correctly, maybe it would have mattered to give him more advantage because CIMO could have gotten something else. We don't know for sure, but in this state, assuming we don't take this illegal action into consideration that CIMO did earlier, then I'm going to say it 100% did not matter because Nimnim did not need that additional resources. He dominated the field. Alright, episode 29 at around the 45-40 mark, around there. We have another illegal action, very minor, but let's show it really quick. So Mystic Tomatoes in the field, Nimnim activates Escape from the Dark Dimension, brings back the Krebons from the Banished Zone, proceeds to a Synchro Summon, and sends Escape from the Dark Dimension to the graveyard to bring out Go Guardian. The illegal action here is sending this card to the graveyard. Escape from the Dark Dimension does not get sent to the graveyard if the target was not destroyed. It basically says target one of your banished dark monsters, special summon that target. When this card leaves the field, destroy and banish that target. When that target is destroyed, destroy this card. The big question is, was Krebons destroyed? No, it was not. And because it wasn't destroyed, Escape stays on the field, face up, meaningless. Did it matter? No. They're not really doing anything with these trap cards being face up on the field. It didn't matter at all. So, nope, that one definitely did not. Also, quick shout out to this episode because this is the next illegal action. This is the infamous episode where Nimnim definitely used an illegal Lila. Basically, they had this thing going that, you know, they can actually get a card from like the previous set or something like that. However, the Lila was actually illegal, so instead later on he said that he would swap it for a Stardust Dragon, and we do see Stardust Dragon in later episodes, so those were legal. But this episode, Lila was actually used a fair amount by Nimnim trying to... There we go, there's an example right there. We obviously don't know what would have happened if we get rid of that Lila and have him had another card in place of Lila, assuming that Lila should have never been in the deck, so I don't know who ended up winning the duel. Nimnim won the duel, so there is that. That's why the whole Lila thing possibly mattered, but I don't know for sure. Moving on. Episode 30 is up next, so around the 29:30 mark or so, we see a very crazy card being activated by Nimnim, and that is Cold Wave. Cold Wave, let me just read it. It says, this card can only be activated at the start of main phase 1. Until your next turn, you and your opponent cannot play or set any spell or trap cards. Usually they follow this really well. I haven't seen any illegal actions regarding Cold Wave, you know, so that's pretty good, except this time. What happens? Moving forward, you know, just casually, and you'll see what happens. What is this? What the heck is this? This is totally illegal. Anyway, yeah, so you can't do that. You can't set or activate any cards for the rest of your turn, in this case, and all of CIMO'S turn, both players. So again, usually they followed this really well. I mean, the game was over. Did it matter? No, did not matter. He set the card, and then, you know, then CIMO drew. These tool cannot be used because of Cold Wave. This thing is dead in the hand, so he lost immediately because then he's just going to attack. So no, 100% did not matter, but it was illegal. In episode 31, we have another illegal action regarding Escape from the Dark Dimension. Around the 26:30 mark or so, we see Nimnim activate the card. He brings out Mystic Tomato. It's a valid target, right? He then goes ahead and proceeds to attack into Go Guardian to trigger a floating effect, while Go Guardian also activates. CIMO chooses to activate it and bring the Mystic Tomato to the other side. Regardless, the Mystic Tomato was destroyed and sent to the graveyard, which is why Nimnim is able to get Mystic Tomato, the search, I mean. He then brings out a Krebons. So because of that, this thing should actually be gone, because Mystic Tomato got destroyed. This thing should go to the graveyard with it, and then Go Guardian activates, or sorry, Mystic Tomato and Go Guardian activate. But it was kept on the field. Did it matter? No, it's a dead card there now, technically speaking. It should have been in the graveyard, but whatever. So it's illegal, but it did not matter. If you proceed to the end, Nimnim then loses, and yeah, whatever. That's fine. Okay, episode 32. When Nimnim is just about to lose, Sangan gets Raigeki'd, and then he doesn't use the mandatory effect of Sangan. This one doesn't matter at all. It's because they know that it duel's over, because this guy's got two. Yeah, CIMO'S got two Kalutes on the hand, so the duel's over. That's an irrelevant illegal action, but I just wanted to show it. Okay, moving on to episode 35 of this series. Around the 23 mark or so, we will see that Blizzard ends up getting special summoned. Yes, by the effect of, I believe it was Shura. Yes, it was Shura. But we can clearly see here that it says cannot be special summon. Now this is one of the few illegal actions that they caught themselves as well. CIMO then talked about this and noticed that. But he did actually have, and he mentioned this, he had a Mistral as well, which is the same level as well, and that one can be special summoned. So if they knew that, obviously he would have just gone with that one and then make the same exact synchro monster. The only difference by this point is that Blizzard should be in the deck and Mistral should be in the graveyard. That's literally the only difference. Other than that though, it didn't really affect the outcome. We don't know if that would have mattered, the whole swapping of them two in the deck. Yep, at the very end, Nim admits defeat, and that is it for the duel. I don't think that would have mattered. Now in episode 36, this is the iconic error of Sirocco and how they definitely used this illegally. Here's the effect of Sirocco. The one that you need to be aware of is this one. Once per turn during your main phase 1, you can target one Blackwing monster you control. Until the end of this turn, it gains attack equal to the total attack of all Blackwing monsters currently on the field except itself. And then other monsters cannot attack. It attacks the Gravekeeper's Spy. Well, if it's 3,700 to 2,500 because of Necro Valley, remember it's 2,500 defense, it should be 1,200. And yes, he does take that 1,200, which is perfect, right? That's how much he should be taking. So now, if we go ahead and keep moving forward a little bit more, at around the 31 or so mark, I think here is when we actually see what ends up happening. Let me play this clip.
Okay, so I actually just realized that Sirocco is all monsters except itself, so it doesn't gain the collective attack of everything, which is weird. I thought it was everything. So you're going to get back great. This doesn't change your move, right? Everything would have still been the same?
No, but are you admitting that you're a dirty cheater?
Yes, I'm admitting I'm a dirty cheater.
Yeah,
So, okay,
that's
so
good
let's do
enough
this.
for
So no, CIMO was actually not a dirty cheater in this case. They had the effect right, and then they ended up going... It's funny, because they got it right, and then they went to wrong. Usually it happens the other way with people, right? They end up seeing something, they're like, oh shoot, we did this wrong, and they do it right, but in this case they went backwards. So then they ended up quote-unquote fixing the duel to how it should be, even though it was already fine. It starts to get really messy here with calculations, but I'm just going to save you all some trouble and say that it did not matter, because... This is one of these duels where CIMO was in this insane streak with these Blackwings winning because of the OP-ness, I guess, the overpoweredness of Kalut, Black Whirlwind, and Gale. None of them being limited because they're using modern day, rules. So just to clarify, they did one illegal action around the 3130 mark, they did another illegal action around the 3315 mark, and they did another illegal action at the 3455 mark. Around here or so with the illegal calculation. And again, in the end it didn't matter, but if you want to group these as one illegal action, you can, or if you want to separate them, if you're doing a count of all of them separated, you can count those as 3 different illegal actions. However, in game 3, around the 42 mark or so, we can actually see that Blackwing gets summoned, special summons Kalut from the graveyard by its effect. We have a 2 and a 3, 1 tuner, 1 non-tuner, so you can make a level 5 synchro that requires 1 tuner plus 1 plus non-tuner monsters. And what does he make? He makes a level 6. That's illegal, obviously. So 23 plus 500 because he's attacking a defense position monster is 2800. So did it matter? Well, the card here is a Gravekeeper's Guard. So in the long run it didn't matter because no matter what synchro he would have summoned, it would have been bounced back. But what we should know is that the damage that Nim is about to take, the piercing damage, should not be applied. Why? Because if he summoned a level 5 monster, then that definitely would not have done any piercing damage to him. Would have still been destroyed, would have still been bounced, but no piercing damage. So really the only thing that this illegal action did was that it cost Nim an extra 900 life points that should not have been taken. Did it matter? If we move forward, I think the short answer is no. Why? Because if we give him plus 900 here, we will see that he should be at 1100 life points, and he's in this situation, then admitted defeat, because those 1100 would not have saved him because of all this onslaught here. So nope, did not matter. Moving on to episode 37, we have 2 illegal actions. The first one is around the 3730 mark or so. Imperial Order is up on the field. Remember that they're using the pre-errata, which means that CIMO is only paying during his standby phase, and it's optional. If he doesn't want to, it goes to the graveyard. Usually they're pretty good at remembering this stuff, as you can see. CIMO lost 700 life points the previous turn because he did pay for that one. But in this particular turn, he does not actually pay for this. The turn ends, draw phase, draws a card, goes to main phase 1, we move forward, and he never pays an extra 700 life points. Yeah, so that's illegal there. He should be down 700. And then that happens, whatever. What happens if we move forward? Nim loses. So did it matter? No. Obvious answer is no. Alright, moving on to episode 41. Before I talk about the illegal action in here, I just want to say this is the episode where they start using the ban list at the time, just because Nim Nim was on an awful losing streak because of the overpoweredness of Blackwings again. Anyway, the illegal action here though is at around the 52-43 mark or so, so if we actually move forward a little bit, okay, Fanguang, the first time we've seen Fanguang. This is a spirit monster that basically says that during the, or sorry, not that, next, when this card is normal summon or flip face up, destroy all set spell or trap cards your opponent controls. So, what happens here? Ends up destroying a face up spell or trap card for whatever reason. So that's illegal, obviously. Fanguang does not do that. Did it matter? No. 100% no, because the duel is over anyway. 2100 attacks, 1700 life points. Attacks anyway, even if finished chain stays on the field. So no, it did not matter, but that was illegal regardless. Moving on to the Order of Chaos episode, we have one illegal action. This is the set with these crazy Inzectors. Let me read the effect of Inzector Dragonfly. At least one specific sentence here. Once per turn, you can equip one Inzector monster from your hand or graveyard to this card. If any equipped card or cards is sent to your graveyard while equipped to this card, except during the damage step, you can special summon one Inzector monster from your deck, except, quote, Inzector Dragonfly. Keep this in mind, alright? Now we're going to move a little bit forward here and play this clip.
Go ahead.
Pop, get rid of your spy.
Spy is gone.
Dragonfly effect.
Sure. He got...
Do I need to say more? Obviously you know what the illegal action is. Yeah, a lot of cards nowadays, really starting from around here, so they had self-restricting effects, including Inzector Dragonfly. You cannot bring out a Dragonfly with a Dragonfly. That is completely illegal, but Nim Nim did it. So... did it matter? If we move forward, we can see, I mean, he gets Sakuretsu there. There's still two on the field, but it's hard to compare to what would happen if there was actually another monster on the field, meaning another Inzector that's not a Dragonfly, and what would have actually happened. We go here, one of them gets tributed. Now, that was the original, not the one special summon, I believe, or we don't know what would have happened if he then tributed the other Dragonfly. Instead, if it was a different target, we have no clue what would have happened. So we move forward, and yeah. This one's very tricky to say if it mattered. I'm going to say it's just, we don't know. We don't know. It's very uncertain on what would have happened. Alright, so in episode 43, around the 35-30 mark or so, and I had to rewatch this one a couple times because I had to make sure that I was saying this correctly. But basically, Inzector Ladybug says, the last effect, that while it's equipped to a monster, you can send this equipped card to the graveyard to target one face-up monster you control, increase that target's level by up to 2. I can't see it here, but you can see it here. Up to 2, right there. You can see it. I think it shows up later anyway on this big thing. There we go. Up to 2. So which means that at the time, you have to send it to the graveyard. I mean, if you send it to the graveyard, and you have to choose to increase it by either 1 or 2. You can't increase it by 0 and then 2 later, or by 1 and then another 1 later. That's not how it works. You have to choose at the time. So what does that mean? Well, Nim Nim sends it here to the graveyard and then puts a 1, and he actually says that he's going to raise it by 1. If I actually or rewind it a little bit, you can see.
I'm going to activate the Ladybug, I'm going to give Dragonfly a level, and I'm going to trigger Dragonfly.
That is...
He literally said, I'm going to give Dragonfly a level, meaning 1 level, and there's a 1, right? It makes sense. Now, moving forward a little bit more, we see Centipede, and then Ladybug gets equipped to the Centipede here, and then we actually see right around here. Let me play this.
Alright, I'm going to activate Centipede. I'm going to send the Ladybug, I'm going to target the Centipede to give it 2 more levels.
That is fine, so...
Okay, so that part's legal, right? By up to 2. Sent Ladybug, gave 2 levels to Centipede, so now Centipede's a 5, and Dragonfly's a 4. But if we look here, they did some random cut where Dragonfly randomly got another level, which was weird, and you can actually see here that it was changed too. Now, it was obviously a cut. My assumption is that they talked a little bit, they cut this part out, but they talked, and then was like, hey, is it okay if I actually change the level of Dragonfly by 1 more? And CIMO was probably, yeah, it's perfectly fine. Which, you know, I mean, obviously you can make the argument and say, well, if the opponent was fine with it, it's not illegal. Technically that's true, technically not, because you can make that case about all of these 20-something illegal actions. So I don't really see that argument. Regardless though, the level got changed. So that's illegal, obviously. You can't just change the level of a monster later on after you've already made several other plays. So did it matter? I don't know. The fact that they're both at 5, which is why Nim Nim wanted this one at 5 as well, is so that he can XC summon into a rank 5. He chose Crimson Shadow Armor Ninja, which is a good XC's monster, you know, during this time. Now, did it matter? Honestly, I don't know. That ninja did stay on the field for a long time. It used its protection effect one time to, you know, send an XC's material to the graveyard. Eventually, Nim Nim won the duel with Dark Arm Dragon at the end. it generated him a lot of advantage, so it possibly won him the duel, because if he didn't have that, he would have kind of been screwed. He would have had to deal with 2 Inzector monsters, not really being able to do all that much else, and CIMO could have probably taken it, so I'm going to say that more than likely it mattered. Alright, there were no illegal actions in episode 44, but episode 45 had one around the 24 mark or so. If we actually go down here, we will see. I'm actually showing the effect of Fiendish Chain. It says when it is destroyed, destroy this card. That's the only part you need to know, okay? So if the monster that this thing is targeted to is destroyed, destroy this card. The other thing too is that Fiendish Chain is currently targeting the Centipede. I didn't mention that, but that's the target of it. So Ryza activates its spinning effect, puts that thing up, and then proceeds to attack into this. What does that mean? It gets destroyed. Which means that this thing should be destroyed, because it got destroyed. Right? It never got sent to the graveyard. Now later on they actually did a lot better with Fiendish Chain, and it was actually Nimnim who would usually be a lot more on it, to be like, hey, no, it doesn't get destroyed, or it does get destroyed, or whatever, you know? Depending on the situation. But this time they did miss it, but they did learn from it almost every other time. Did it matter? No. Again, there's not really any interaction that they could have done with the useless Face of Trap card. They don't run anything in their deck to be able to take advantage of that, so I'm going to say that it did not matter. No illegal actions in episodes 46 or 47, but in episode 48 there were 4 illegal actions. One which repeats an additional time, so technically 3 different illegal actions. But let's take a look at this. So, the first thing is that Banisher of the Radiance gets summoned, and its effect says any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. Alright? That means not just monster, but anything. So what happens here? Smashing Ground gets activated, sends Redox to the Banish Zone, of course, but Smashing Ground stays on the graveyard. Now, later on, everything else they did actually do it correctly by sending things to the Banish Zone. Like, for example, that Pot of Greed went to the Banish Zone. It should be going to the Banish Zone. And so on and so forth. The only thing that they really missed was this Smashing Ground. It should be in the Banish Zone. Didn't matter. If I fast forward, I didn't see a single situation where they ended up recycling of Smashing Ground from like a Magician of Faith or something. No, they don't run that anymore. So, no. However, in Game 2, we did see 3 different illegal actions. So the very first one was around the 32-23 mark or so, around here. We see Cold Wave getting activated, and then CIMO responds with Macrocosmos, perfectly fine, and then Chains Twister, that's perfectly fine as well, because it's Nimnim's turn. It's a quick play spell card, so you know he destroys that, and he pays 800. Let's go back. What? That's so random. Like, I was actually, wait a minute, what? Twister is minus 500 life points. You're supposed to be paying 500. He paid 800, so he should have 300 more life points. He should be at 7,500, so that was an illegal damage, or sorry, illegal life point calculation, I should specify. It wasn't damage, it was just life point calculation. So that's one illegal action. The bigger illegal actions, though, were regarding Star Eater. Oh boy, is this card a Ruling's Nightmare because of its crazy effect. Here's Star Eater. 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner monsters. Must be synchro summoned, cannot be special summoned by other ways. Synchro summon cannot be negated, and when it's synchro summoned, cards and effects cannot be activated. That's all self-explanatory. The big thing is this bottom section. It says if this card attacks, it is unaffected by other card effects until the end of the damage step. There's a lot of weird stuff going on here with this card because of the way that it's worded. CIMO does actually draw a Snatch Steal, uses Snatch Steal. Okay. Takes it, right? CIMO then proceeds to attack. He attacks with Star Eater, Kaiku, and Gaia Dragon. Here's the thing. If we look at Star Eater's effect, it says if this card attacks, it is unaffected by other card effects. Currently, Star Eater is affected by Snatch Steal. It's literally equipped by Snatch Steal. Okay? So if it attacks, that means that it's unaffected by Snatch Steal, which means that upon attacking, this card goes back over here because it's not affected by Snatch Steal. And then, until the end of the damage step, basically at the end of the damage step, Snatch Steal then works on it again because now it's affected, so it comes back. So what this means is that this didn't affect these two attacking because it's not like it's switching control during the whole battle phase. It's not. Now the other thing too is that this thing is currently at half because I believe it got galed, so it's currently at 1600. So what does this mean? He takes 18, 16, and 26. He should not have taken the 1600. Keep in mind he should also not have taken that additional 300 from Twister. Alright, but he should have taken these two. So right now he should be up 1900 life points, which means that he should be at 3000 life points. He gets Dark Hold, whatever, but then there's Imperial Order. So with Imperial Order activated, Snatch Steal then, dies, goes back to the other side, of course, right? Okay, here's the draw phase of CIMO'S next turn. Cannot keep Imperial Order, obviously, because he can't even pay for it. So now Star Eater comes back. Snatch Steal is activated yet again, or not activated, but it's active yet again. And then attacks again. So that should be another not minus 16. Now here's the thing. This should be 21 plus 19. Remember, the 1600 from last turn plus the 300 from Twister. Right now he should be at exactly 4,000. 2100 plus 19. 4,000. This thing cannot attack this turn either because upon attacking it will be unaffected by Snatch Steal. Which means that he will take 26 again, but that would be it. That's 4,000 minus 26. He should be at 1,400 life points. And then next turn he would gain 1,000 life points. He would be at 2,400 life points. He would have drawn something. I don't know what it was going to be. Did it matter? I don't know, but I will say it definitely affected the outcome of the duel in some way, shape, or form. We just don't know. We don't know what would happen. We don't know what he would have top deck. It could have been something crazy to make a crazy comeback. It's possible, but we don't know. I mean, there is Necro Valley and Macrocosmos, a crazy lockdown, so that's already, you know, handicapping Nimnim a lot, but it's still possible. So my conclusion is, it probably mattered, but we don't know for sure. Alright, in episode 49, around 33 mark or so, we start this duel off with Nimnim using the effect of Stream. Stream is basically one of the 4 baby dragon rulers, and while its effect did not pop up here on the screen, I will read a very key thing. It says you can discard this card and 1 dragon type or water monster, which he did discard itself plus a dragon, which was Redox, to special summon 1 Tidal Dragon Ruler Waterfalls from your deck, which he did. It cannot attack this turn, and then it has a hard once per turn. The big thing to note is that it cannot attack this turn. I mean, it's the first turn anyway, so it wasn't going to attack. That's fine. But then CIMO goes ahead and uses Snatch Steal on it, summons Magical Scientist, gets Book of Moon, yeah, whatever. That would have been a basically game right there. And there we go. Then CIMO is going to choose to attack. He sets a card, it's going to choose to attack, but let's see here.
Will set a card. I'll hit you for 26.
It actually can't attack.
And then
It's summoned off.
Oh, it can't?
Yeah, it's summoned off.
Correct.
So
Correct.
So that's actually incorrect. He can attack, just not the turn it was summoned. It is no longer the turn that Stream uses its effect, which means that Tidal can attack for 2,600 damage. Now, technically speaking, this is not an illegal action, because choosing not to attack, not attacking here is not illegal. It's more so an incorrect thing that was mentioned by Nimnim. I just want to clarify that. So let's assume that CIMO did attack, and you know, because they both knew that he can't in fact attack. He should be down 2,600 life points. So if we move forward around this mark or so, people were saying that he definitely had a game, because if you assume the minus 2,600, he should be down to 600 life points, correct? Yes. Now, currently it's CIMO'S turn. What does he do? He sets Ashura. A lot of people were saying, hey, if he only has 600 life points, he could have actually done Cowboy for game. Which is true, you know? He could have summoned Shura, special summon Blackwing Bora, because this thing can special summon itself if you control another Blackwing. That's 2 level 4s, XC summon into Gagaga Cowboy, and then detach 1, and that's game. Cowboy for game. It was actually used in a previous one. Here's the effect. You can detach 1 to inflict 800 damage to the opponent if you put in defense position, which would have been enough. He would have been to 600. And that's what people were saying, that it definitely mattered, that CIMO should have won. But then, here's the other thing, and I saw this, something that sometimes a lot of people dismiss. We saw the information that Nimnim had. Nimnim literally had an effect veiler in his hand. If CIMO brings out Gagaga Cowboy and detaches an XC's material as cost, Nimnim would then just respond with Effect Veiler to negate the damage, and that's it. He's down to 600. Now, yes, that would have affected the following turn, because now this next turn, Nimnim is not able to Synchro Summon into Scrap Dragon and then set the card, pop both, and win. Instead, he would be down to this monster, this thing should be in the graveyard, and then he has whatever is in his hand. Would he have won? I don't know. Either way, the duel would have been prolonged more than likely, unless Nimnim had another way to bring out another card on here and finish him off for game, but I doubt that would have happened instead. Honestly, I don't know, but it's not as simple as people say because of the Effect Veiler. He could have just Effect Veilered, and he would have the Effect Veilered actually, or else he would have lost immediately. So yeah, did it matter? Possibly, possibly not, we don't know. And that's actually it for all the illegal actions. Overall, a little bit less, but I don't know if it's going to be a lot more lengthy this time around. No idea. But hopefully you all enjoyed this. As always, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on those notifications if you want to see more of these videos. As always, let me know what you thought of this, as well as leaving recommendations on other videos or other series on YouTube, YugiTubing, that I should do for every illegal action if you are interested in that. I will definitely be doing more progression series and more History of Yu-Gi-Oh! Series as soon as more episodes keep getting released on CIMO'S channel, so yeah, be on the lookout for that. Other than that, that is it, so hopefully you all have a great day. Bye-bye everyone.